Hello, everyone. We are still 3 minutes before we officially start the webinar. But meanwhile, thank you everyone for joining us. Just a quick reminder that we have available interpretation. So if you go to the downed little image with a kind of a world that says interpretation, if you click there, you will see that you can either choose English or French or the original audio. So meanwhile, we get everyone in the room and we wait for this last 3 minutes. Please go and select the language you would like to listen the webinar in. Alors, juste en français, merci à tout le monde. Merci pour être ici. Juste pour vous dire qu'on a les services d'interprétation dans les petites globes qui sont dessous. Vous pouvez cliquer là et vous allez trouver les options de l'anglais ou le français. C'est à votre choix et merci. On va commencer dans 2 minutes. Merci à tout le monde. Okay, so we see that the chat is already warming up. Thanks, everyone. This is another reminder also. If you have any questions or comments, please do not hesitate to share it in the chat. We're going to be actively monitoring it. And so you don't need to wait until the end, until we have the question and answer section. So you can just put your question or comment in the chat as some of you are, well, introducing yourself or saying hi, but also sharing any kind of question, suggestion, feedback, comment, or anything else you would like to share with us. And yes, as Kari is saying in the chat, it would be great to know where is everyone joining us from. So if you could also share with us on the chat where you're joining, that would be very, very nice to know from you all. And so last reminder, we're about to start. So last reminder for everyone that there is a translation available. You can click on the little world called interpretation and choose your language, desired language between French and English. Alors, la dernier rappel, qu'on a les services d'interprétation. Dans les boutons dessous, vous pouvez choisir entre français ou anglais. Et vous pouvez partager toutes votre questions ou commentaires dans le chat. Et merci pour être ici. So, with this, we're already on time. So we're going to get this going. And I want to thank Mustafa Ben Mamar, SSATP Program Manager, and I give him the word for the opening remarks. Thank you, Mustafa.
Thank you, Maricela. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining this webinar. My name is Mustafa Ben Mamar. I am the Program Manager of the Africa Transport Policy Program. As you may know, SSATP is a partnership program that facilitates the development of transport policy in Africa. We have 42 country members. We are currently implementing the development plan of SSATP. It's a work program that will start in 2022 and up to 2026. So we are midterm. This development plan has 3 main thematic areas. We have regional integration, we have urban mobility, and we have road safety. And this is the topic of the day. As you may know, the availability and accuracy of road safety data is really one of the main challenges we face. Africa road safety data collection and management is inconsistent across countries, lacking in quality and not aligned with the global benchmarks like WHO. This fragmentation impedes the monitoring of progress and the identification of evidence-based interventions. To address this challenge, the SSATP developed this road safety performance monitoring framework. It is designed to help African countries improve their road safety data collection, monitoring, and accountability. It provides a structured approach to tracking and improving road safety outcomes in the aim to really inform the decision-making and formulate, implement some evidence-based intervention. So this webinar is designed to broadly share this framework and hopefully incentivize some of you to use it as representative of the African road safety lead agencies. So during this webinar, we're going to present this newly developed tool. And beyond the presentation and discussions, we would like really your feedback because we consider this framework still a work in progress. And your feedback will be really much appreciated as we aim to make this framework effective for road safety management across the continent. So in closing, you know, we come a long way before we finalize this framework. And the way we prepared this study is through extensive consultation work. So it's a study that has been reviewed by many, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank the directors of road safety lead agencies who participated during this study. Their feedback was really valuable. So that's in closing. So I would like now to hand it over to Maricela. Before handing it over to Maricela, I would really acknowledge the support and the good work Haley, who managed from the SSATP side this study. So now I would like to hand it over to Maricela, who is going to moderate the session. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mustafa. So now we're going to go to the presentation on the Road Safety Performance Monitoring Framework and its components. So from the key performance indicators to the data collection methodologies and the reporting processes with Dr. Noela Baja, who is a Senior Road Safety and Monitoring and Evaluation Specialist and the SSATP consultant for this work. She's a seasoned road safety and monitoring and evaluation expert, renewed for expertise in road safety management system, public health, and research at national and regional levels, with demonstrated expertise in comprehensive evaluation, with a robust track record in crafting strategic management tools that have shaped road safety policies, reforms, and institutional strengthening. So thank you very much, Noela. Before passing it over to you, I want to pass it to Haley Adamte, SSATP Road Safety Pillar Co-Lead, and a World Bank Senior Transport Specialist, who indeed, as Mustafa was saying, he started all this work, and we're going to hear from him regarding the background and how this work started. Thank you very much. Back to you, Haley.
Great. Thank you, Marcel. Thank you, Mustafa. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining this webinar. I think Mustafa said it all about the deficiencies we have in the road safety data collection and analysis across Africa, and our effort is basically how can improve this effort, and the performance monitoring framework that we're going to discuss today is a continuation of basically SSTP's support on road safety. As Mustafa mentioned at the beginning, one of the pillars that SSTP working is road safety. So it's a continuation of earlier works that SSTP has been doing on road safety. Back in 2021, SSTP in collaboration with the Global Road Safety Facility proposed the minimum set of road safety indicators for data collection, analysis, and reporting. That was back in 2021. And now, framework for performance monitoring to help countries monitor their road safety performance. So it's a continuation of the earlier attempt. The framework that we are going to discuss today has been developed basically using the safe system approach, which encompasses, as you all know, the 5 pillars of the safe system approach: road safety management, on the management aspect, on the infrastructure side, on the safe vehicles, safe road users, and post-crash responses. So the beauty of this framework is basically it encompasses the 5 pillars based on which we can evaluate road safety performance. As we all know, any incident that happens on the road, on road safety, it's not only one because of one issue or infrastructure. It's a combination of many. It's a system. That's why the safe system approach is very important. So by adapting a data-driven approach, we can accurately identify high-risk areas and implement target interventions to mitigate incidents. That's the most important thing. So what, at the end of the day, all this exercise is basically to identify those spots so that we can intervene. The framework also calls for collaboration among governments and NGOs. As we all know, road safety is a collaborative and a joint effort, so it needs a collaboration of all of us. Now, going forward, we'd like to hear from you about the use of this framework. We all know that, all of you, the road safety management entities, you collect data and you analyze. And after the presentation, we'd like to your feedback and how can we help you use the system? Where do you see the challenge and where do you see the opportunity? So we look forward for the discussions, and I hope that you will find this presentation and the framework useful, and would like to get your feedback. So I'm looking forward for the discussions and the feedbacks. So thank you very much. With this, I hand over to Noella, who has been working on this almost now a year plus. She has done really fantastic job. Thank you, Noella, for this excellent work. So over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Haile. Just a moment, let me share my screen.
While we see the presentation, I want to thank everyone for introducing yourself. It's great to see so many friends connected, and hopefully we'll hear from you in the discussion later on. Go ahead, Noella. Thanks.
Okay, thank you so much. It's a real pleasure to be here. I'm Consuelo Noella Badia, as earlier introduced, and I'll be presenting this road safety performance monitoring framework that was developed in line with the current decade of action for road safety. And the presentation would be done following this outline. We'll begin with the rationale and methodology for its development. The proposed indicators that have been slightly modified based on feedback from the last stakeholder consultation meeting. We'll look at the results framework and the reporting mechanism including data requirements in terms of their collection methods, information sharing, and reporting structure. So the rationale for developing this monitoring framework stems from the commitment to addressing road safety challenges in Africa within this second decade of action for road safety, in which Africa has domesticated the global plan by tailoring its action plan towards achieving the global objective of a 50% reduction of fatalities and serious injuries by 2030. And the framework also aligns with the 12 UN Global Road Safety Targets that are tied to key road safety risk factors, for which countries are called upon to implement evidence-based road safety interventions to improve their road safety performance. So in view of these commitments and targets to be achieved, the SSATP developed this framework to help African countries, as earlier mentioned, to improve their road safety data collection, monitoring, and accountability towards achieving road safety targets. The development methodology for this monitoring framework began with a desk review of relevant road safety documents that led to the development of a theory of change. And the essence of the theory of change was to map the pathways by which recommended road safety actions would lead to the desired road safety outcomes. And the outcomes are the desired results for each of the decade of action pillars. So with a focus on the expected results per pillar and underpinned by a review of the literature, these road safety performance indicators were selected to measure progress that African countries are making towards achieving the road safety objective of the decade. And using some criteria that will be seen in the next slide, 14 indicators were selected to be monitored by countries and used to measure progress across the road safety pillars. So all the criteria of a SMART indicator were factored and regrouped into credibility, specificity, and feasibility. The credibility of an indicator pertains to its relevance, accuracy, and importance, while its specificity pertains to its ability to measure a unique aspect of road safety. And its feasibility had to do with data availability, and the criteria were all assumed to have equal weights, and an indicator had to meet all the criteria to be retained as part of the minimum set of indicators for monitoring. So this led to the following selected indicators. 3 indicators for road safety management, which is the first pillar in the African Road Safety Action Plan, which are the percentage of financed annual road safety lead agency budget that was deemed of high priority, the National Road Safety Action Plan with time-bound targets published, a centralized database on road safety established and operationalized. We know that the Road Safety Lead Agency in a country is responsible for coordinating the national road safety effort through the design and implementation of the National Road Safety Strategy and Action Plan. And this requires funding, which is often inadequate as reported by findings of previous studies. So that's why we deemed this indicator of high priority. And of course, the National Road Safety Action Plan with time-bound targets should exist to provide the roadmap for road safety interventions. And there should be a centralized road safety database that is operational to furnish required data for evidence-based road safety management. Now for the second pillar, safe road infrastructure, would be indicated by the percentage of road length in kilometers with 3-star or better rating for all road users, that is vehicle occupants, motorcyclists, and pedestrians. But based on feedback from the last stakeholder consultation meeting, we agreed to disaggregate this indicator, separating the trunk roads, that is the national and primary roads, from the secondary and tertiary roads. And now for vehicle safety, it will be indicated by the mean age of registered motor vehicle fleet in years and the percentage of registered motor vehicle fleet that meet UN vehicle safety standards. Safe road users would be indicated by the percentage of drivers under the influence of alcohol the percentage of drivers using a mobile phone while driving, the percentage of drivers exceeding speed limits, the daytime helmet wearing rates by cyclists and motorcyclists, the daytime seatbelt wearing rate of all occupants. And these are linked to the 5 major road user behavior risk factors. And lastly, for post-crash response, the average response time for emergency medical services and a fully operational designated emergency medical service lead agency with authority to coordinate pre-hospital and hospital-based emergency medical services. So we noticed that most road safety action plans include enforcement measures, but countries do not have a solid regulatory framework to form the basis for such enforcement. And those will need to begin by setting or adopting the standards as a basis for efficient enforcement. Now, to operationalize the monitoring of these indicators, a results framework and an M&E plan was developed. This began with a theory of change that provides a logical link between key road safety recommended actions and the desired goal of halving fatalities and serious injuries. So in terms of the direction of flow of the results and the levels stemming from the goal of halving fatalities and serious injuries, we identified the intermediate outcomes and finally the outputs. So the intermediate outcomes are the basis for the safety performance indicators. The emphasis of the results framework is on the intermediate outcomes as such that will be monitored through the indicators. And the monitoring and evaluation plan contains a detailed definition of all the proposed indicators, their data source, their formula for indicator computing, the suggested authorities to bear the responsibility for data collection, and the reporting frequency. Now, in terms of the data requirements for the selected indicators, both primary and secondary data would be relevant. Primary data usually doesn't exist in records and requires specific surveys for their collection. This would be the case for indicators of road user behavior, such as speeding, alcohol impairment, helmet and seatbelt use, and the same also applies to road infrastructure safety data. And the cost implications for this data collection or primary data should be factored by countries. Secondary data, on the other hand, exist across agencies that perform mandates other than road safety. For example, hospital records of the emergency medical services within the mandates of health authorities, road inventory data, public finance data, and routine vehicle registration and inspection data. They have to be collected from these agencies and collated in formats that will be useful for computing the indicator values. Depending on the indicator in question, several methods can be used for data collection, such as human roadside observations, technology-based observations, and population surveys. These will be most applicable for collection of data for indicators of road user behavior and road infrastructure safety. Secondary data collection methods would include perusal of some existing databases, especially administrative data that is usually collected by other agencies as part of their mandate. So the key thing to note here is that the data will come from hospitals, emergency medical services, police, public finance, motor vehicle registration, and inspection units for the set of indicators in this monitoring framework. And the indicator values will be computed as guided by the monitoring and evaluation plan. Now, there are potential data issues that countries would encounter in the process of collecting and organizing data for the indicators. And also, countries have different levels of data management capacities. This would warrant a diagnosis of potential data issues specific to a country to tailor their data management capacity building programs in response to the identified issues. The first issue that might be common is data unavailability. That is absence of comprehensive systems for data collection and lack of data sharing protocols even when the data exists. Secondly, the issue of data accuracy may arise from the quality and frequency of data collection, embodying issues of data management skills. And data completeness is another issue, and a good example of that is the widely cited underreporting of road injury data by WHO. So understanding specific data management issues will be an opportunity for technical assistance to support countries improve their data management capacities. Now, regarding the reporting tools and mechanism for information sharing, we suggest that spreadsheets be used as a starting point to enable integration into other reporting systems and templates in the future. And the road safety lead agencies will serve as the national focal points for indicator data reporting. They will set up national data repositories for the indicators being monitored. And we also recommend that countries would set up both data and policy working groups with representatives from agencies that furnish indicator data. More on information sharing, we are proposing periodic computation of indicator values and preparation of annual reports by the road safety lead agencies. And these reports will be validated by both the data and policy working groups. The policy working group would serve as a forum for disseminating progress reports and also identifying gaps in road safety interventions, thereby creating a feedback and accountability platform for road safety stakeholders who would integrate the feedback into their action plans and strategies. So the road safety performance reports will be shared at regional and continental levels. And the African Road Safety Observatory is being targeted here as the data sharing platform where African countries will report on their safety performance indicators as well as their crash-related indicators. This shows the reporting hierarchy, beginning with several agencies at the national level that produce data relevant for the indicators. The data will be relayed to the road safety lead agencies that serve as the national data coordinators and collators. They will compute indicator data values and compile reports that will be forwarded to the regional reporting centers. In the absence of regional reporting centers, they can go straight to continental reporting depicted by the African Road Safety Observatory, from where the reporting would be escalated to global levels, including WHO. And now, as a summary of the information sharing mechanism, at the national and international levels, the first tab shows the data working group that comprises of the agencies producing the data and the national road safety lead agencies, where we expect that collected data would be maintained in a data repository maintained by the lead agency. After the indicator data have been computed by the data working group, there will be validation and visualization of the same at the policy working group and discussions of the reports emanating thereof. Then the data and the reports will be relayed to the regional and continental structures, such as the African Road Safety Observatory, that would serve as a reporting link between African countries and the global level, as it would feed global databases such as that for WHO. At that point, I think that is it. Thanks for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Noela, for this in-depth presentation about the framework. Now we're going to go, remember everyone to please post your questions or comments on the chat. We're actively monitoring it. And now we're going to pass to a panel discussion with two of our key partners who will be providing us some key remarks and on the application of this framework and how this aligns with the initiatives that they are being leading. So for this, I'm going to quickly introduce them first. So we're going to have Dr. Chiara Rettis. She's a team leader at the Violence and Injury and Disability Unit within the WHO African Regional Office. Chiara is a public health expert who earned her master's degree at London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. She has over 20 years of experience in international development, working with government and non-governmental organizations in conflict-affected and low-resource settings to provide capacity-building services and supporting policy reforms in several different topics. Then we're going to have also Jonas Bekele. He's a road safety technical officer. Jonas has been involved in various road safety projects and initiatives across the continent, working with different capacities on infrastructure and road safety issues, including consulting for SSATP and UNECA. He's currently part of the technical team that supports the African Union Commission, AUC, for the full deployment of the African Road Safety Observatory, ARSO. So welcome to Chiara and Jonas. Thank you for being here. And well, as the idea is to have a conversation and just to hear from you some of your insights and comments regarding, for example, how do you see this framework supporting the countries in the African region? How can this framework support the role and the work that ARSO is doing within its efforts to improve road safety data collection and management? So Chiara or Jonas, not sure who would like to start sharing your insights.
Thank you, Marisela. Can you hear me?
Yes, and we can see
Thank you. I may start. Thank you for inviting me and be part of this important event, and also very happy to see the diversity of our audience and the interest around this important topic. So why is this framework important? Well, it can be really instrumental, first of all, in strengthening the governance and institutional management of countries, knowing that this is really crucial for the achievement of global and national road safety goals. So through an enhanced leadership, that requires monitoring and evaluation of activities that this framework offers, there will also be immediately a positive effect in the capacity, the effectiveness of stakeholders in coordinating action and being more efficient in collecting data, for example. Then when we go to more specifically to the quality of data, these frameworks and the range of indicators that have been selected cover different level. It goes from process aspects of the work to regulatory aspects of road safety to actual data that reflects the needs or the status in the population. So the level of mortality and injury. So it is very comprehensive. So the framework can really contribute to stimulate the improvement of the quality of data. We know that this is a challenge, especially in the African region, because of the lack of standardization so far, and also the lack of a supportive, enabling legal environment, let's say. So there will be all these mutual effects thanks to the capacity of this framework when it is implemented to really operationalize also existing strategies.
Thank you very much, Chiara. Jonas, what's your take on this?
Thank you, Chair, for the invitation extended to our team. To give you some context, of course, I will leave the statistics of our continent, to the audience. But one thing we know that many of our member countries collect road safety data, but the collection is not necessarily comprehensive nor ensure quality. And data collection is not, harmonized across the broad. and it's not even tailored to indicate, the achievement of their target. Hence, also making benchmarking difficult across our region. So, having understanding of the importance of this tool, we know that the UN and the African Union Commission is in different resolution or declaration on improving road safety 2013 as the second decade of in this regard, systemic monitoring of the performance of the road safety management, particularly will allow us, to better understand what works well and what needs, improvement in that space. So for me, this requires looking at the bigger picture, like a safety lens, including the quality of our road safety data, enforcement, of course, post-crash response, and the like. And one of the intervention proposed by our ministers, including by heads of state, is to implement, and then for the establishment of a regional body of road safety observatory. As some of you are aware, the African Road Safety Observatory also was created back in 2018 as part of this initiative, supported obviously by many hands, including you Marcella, SSATP, UNECA, ADB, ITF, IA, WHO, so, but led by, of course, by African Union Commission. So the mission basically was, to encourage a coordinated effort on the part of our member countries, to ensure greater road safety management, particularly aiming, to collect, analyze, and share data to provide a better understanding of the risks that earlier was discussed, to, of course, similarly to develop and to come up with effective solution for reducing the number of crashes across our countries. So in this effort, we believe that monitoring and evaluation and the guidelines tool which you are coming up today will complete or complement, the road safety management loop. So we all know that there is no, so far, no guideline or methodological tool to our countries, to assess the progress of road safety management, if that captures, all the elements. So personally, this development, this framework definitely will facilitate the periodic assessment of ARSO's member countries, the status, by aligning or adhering to mini ARSO as a full set of criteria for a new data collection system and subsequent implementation of an appropriate corrective measure promptly.
Thank you, Jonas. By the way, we heard you loud and clear, although there was a bit of, I think, connectivity issues, and we cannot see you. So just in case you would like to put your camera on. Okay, great. Thank you for this valuable insights from both of you. And now I would like to ask you, what do you consider as some of the key steps that countries may need to actually take in order to take advantage of this tool? Like what's needed from them as to really benefit the most out of this, to take the most out of this tool? Chiara.
I think, yes, I think that actually ARSO is the best position to really reply to this question, because I do think that the first step for countries is really under the leadership of lead agencies to take the lead in either initiating or strengthening the current initiatives, the current mechanisms in place in countries. We also know that in this region there is a wide range of maturity level or stages of implementation of road safety policies. So it is very important, being a multi-sectoral type of intervention, that to really rely on the leadership in country, and based on this, then lay out the priorities using this tool. According to the last report that the WHO released in 2023 for the African countries, for the WHO region, that showed that at least 45 countries in the region report having a leader in the sector, and this is a very good starting point, because of their role in coordinating and leading the work of the other actors at the country level. Then, depending on the level of maturity of in country, this framework can really serve as a reference, so to align current strategies or frameworks to this one, aiming to have a common, a common tool also throughout the region, to be able to report consistently and very comprehensively. Or in the case there is less developed initiatives on road safety, this can really serve as a baseline per se, to really identify the key priorities and the starting points for improvement. Thank you.
Thank you, Chiara. Jonas, I'm not sure if your camera now it's working, but let's see. Oh, yes, now we can see you. That's great. Thank you. So what's your your insights on this? What could be the steps?
So for me, I hope you will spare me that you wouldn't expect me to say otherwise, but I would automatically say, as the first step for our member countries would be to ratify and domesticate the African Road Safety Charter provisions, which we all know that is used for policy advocacy tool, aiming to support our policymakers, stakeholders, with evidence on, critical risk factor related to the actions and good practices, drawn from high quality data, knowledge, of course, the monitor implement. Of course, last but not least, the countries should come up or revise their own national strategies, aligned to the second in the African Action Plan, while developing a strong database system. Obviously, we understand from the presentation, from the previous presentation, that the framework necessitates the use of data. Otherwise, we will not be able to benefit from this guideline or framework, which personally I see it will provide, a clear, actionable objective for those, for our member countries, that to have clear direction or target to implement action that address the problem of fatalities, obviously contributing factor in line with the pillar of action or what we call in the new decade action areas.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jonas. And both of you have mentioned it already somehow, how this framework aligns with some of the work that you're doing, some of the initiatives that you are leading, and so forth. But if you would like, can you just give us the highlights or the summary of exactly how do you see this framework complementing and supporting the work that you as Chiara, you as a WHO regional office, but then also you, Jonas, with the support that you bring with to ARSO and AUC, how does this framework really complements or support the initiatives that you are been leading and you're working on?
So can I come in?
Please.
So, of course, ARSO recognized the importance of this road safety performance monitoring framework. I mean, at some point, I was also part of this exercise. So the framework basically helped to systematically track this, especially from all pillars or action areas. It will enable them periodically, to assess the status of the safety performances, and of course take appropriate corrective measures. But for now, I think I would say, since I didn't personally go through all the sections of the report, maybe there might be some areas that your team and our team will sit and then see where we can align, especially with some of our SPIs and key performance indicators, so that our members can also benefit from this good effort that you put forth. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonas. Chiara, any comments from your side?
Yes, okay. This framework is fully aligned with international standards and other frameworks and regulations, of course, because it stems from a literature review that you did. So it is really complementary to anything that the WHO is currently doing in terms of assistance to member states in implementing the recommendations and the safe system model, of course. So this is definitely a tool that can really accompany most of the current country level activities on technical assistance in different aspects and pillars. I would like to mention in particular the technical assistance around data management, because here there is an emphasis on, for example, multi-source data collection and analysis to allow quality. So and on the other hand, we can also support in expanding and the quality and I would say the type of data that are currently collected. We know that there is a focus right now on mortality, and much more can be done in capturing information, for example, about injuries and the severity of injuries. This is very relevant, or the activities related to post-crash care, which is now mentioned in the key indicators here. Yeah, and also the disaggregation. The more we disaggregate, the more we are able to tailor and design policy, I would say concrete actions to address the issues in each country. And then, of course, in terms of regional level for advocacy purposes, having data available with the frequency that is proposed in this framework can really boost advocacy efforts that we can accompany regionally and also globally for this region.
Thank you very much, and very much agree with this. I mean, I'm happy to hear that both of you find it useful and aligned with the work that you're doing. And indeed, as both of you mentioned, the idea is that we complement each other, and that obviously we have a shared goal that is really supporting and reinforcing all the great efforts that are happening in many of the African countries. So thank you very much. With this, I invite you to stay here and don't take off your camera. And I'm going to invite also Noela and Haley to put the camera on as well, because we're going to pass through a question and answer session with all the participants online. So we already have a few of them that I'm going to read now. Please, whoever wants to jump in and answer them, go ahead. And later we'll give the opportunity to even open the mic and or for those that actually I'm not even sure that we can do that. So let's continue with the chat option until I double check if we can give the permission to open the mic and or camera.
We can.
So I'm gonna
we can do that.
Okay, sorry? We can.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So after I'm going to read the first two questions, and then after I'm going to invite anyone that is connected if they want to just jump in and you know, open the mic and camera to share your question, comment, or insights. You're more than welcome, and we would be very much appreciated of that. So the first two questions, the first question is from Martial. He's asking if what is a tool that will be used to ensure the harmony and quality of the data collected from the countries. And the second question from Celestine is what are the achievements in Africa taken into account for the development of this framework, for this framework. So who would like from the discussants and or the presenters would like to jump in here to any of these two questions?
Okay, thank you, Maricela. I think looking at Marcial's question on what tool would be used to ensure harmony of the data collection from countries. I think within the framework, we have a monitoring and evaluation plan and a results framework, which should be followed by countries in the process of data collection. That alone is a step of harmonization. We also acknowledge the fact that countries are at different levels of their data management capacities. And I think there is great need for technical assistance to support countries in this aspect of data collection so that they will be able to collect quality data and timely enough to make it comparable for adequate learning to result from it. So I think following the methodology outlined in the monitoring and evaluation plan by the countries and with support from regional organizations on their data management capacities, we will be ready for quality data from the countries. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Noela. Anyone else that would like to add to any of these two questions?
Can I come in here, Marcelo?
Please, Haley.
Yeah, very quickly. Noela, thank you very much. I think she basically said it all. Just to add that, I think one of the objective of ARSO is really on data harmonization. The objective is to use ARSO as a platform whereby countries come together and have a standardized, harmonized data. And now we have been talking about a minimum set of road safety data for analysis, and that has been, in discussion since 2021. In fact, in principle, it was agreed that countries should collect at least just minimum agreed set of standards so that the harmonization started that. So what I would suggest is that I think we need to strengthen really ARSO when it comes to data collection and harmonization. That's the platform where, at least at the regional level, at Africa regional level, we can get a platform where countries come together, discuss, and the challenges they are facing on data collection and all that. So I'm hoping that I know that Africa Union is now working on that. Once ARSO starts, in full gear, some of these issues, can be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you, Haley. Jonas, because we're talking about ARSO and AUC, any comments that you would like to add to any of these two questions? Otherwise, Chiara, anything you would like to add from WHO's perspective?
Thank you. As I said earlier, the WHO can provide technical assistance, of course, on really technical aspects related to quality of data. The aspect that was mentioned earlier by Eli about country-level agreement on a minimum set of data and harmonization among countries, I also agree that that is really needed, because as in many data collection processes, the process is maybe as important as the data that are finally collected, because it really allows dialogue and coordination among actors, and this is the strength of the entire process.
Thank you very much. So Jonas, not sure you want to add anything from your side?
Maybe I will, can you hear me? Sorry, there's some internet issue from my end. There's a power outage. So maybe I will invite, I can see some of my or our steering committee members in the audience. So, you know, they can tell us also both from policy and of course the ground challenge and interventions. Maybe if I may ask Divine from our steering committee, member countries, to say Divine. Maybe Marcela, can you give him access?
I think he can.
I've just given him access. Divine?
Oh, thank you, Carl.
Can you get me?
Yes, we can.
Thanks very much, and it's been very interesting to listen to all the inputs. I'm Dr. Divine, the National Director of Road Transport of Ministry of Transport, and the head of the Data Analysis Center, the head of the Data Analysis Center for Cameroon, which we're pleased to comfort some of their line of thought for multi-dimensional source of collection of data, which Cameroon has just, with the assistance of the World Bank, put in place a new national data analysis center that actually interconnects the Ministry of Public Health, Public Works, National Gendarmerie, the Police Force, and the local councils, centralized services, and the road users also report data and different levels of checks that are put in place to validate the data. So we're pleased to be comfortable with this. But I think Jonas said it all regards to what ASO is doing. We have always raised this concern. It was raised in Abuja. The concern was raised in Durban during the two SSATP meetings, General Assemblies. The question is to avoid a scenario where we have multiple instances that could harmonize resources working on the same subject, and that concerns the same actors. Because also with data management collection has actually been doing a lot of work up to the nomination of a country data collector focal points for African countries, which also was working with the World Organization, that those focal points for ASO in different countries should be the same focal points for WHO to be able to harmonize our different approaches to bypass the internal structuring of each country as regards to which structure is in charge of validating data that goes to the to WHO. I take the case of Cameroon. The WHO's entrance point for Cameroon diplomacy is the Ministry of Public Health, but the authority in charge of validating the data for road crash is the Minister of Transport. So usually the WHO focal point used to be at the Ministry of Transport, but once it goes to the Ministry of Public Health, there's no coordination. The Ministry of Transport will not validate data that's collected by the Ministry of Public Health and forwarded to the Ministry of Transport. So we were able to work on that. That whosoever is the focal point is it still comes back to the Ministry of Transport to coordinate the WHO data collection procedure, and the Minister of Transport validates it before it is communicated. If I can remember well, in Nigeria, during the SSATP meeting, the ASO meeting in Nigeria, and in Durban, in South Africa, the minimum standard of data to be collected was agreed upon by ASO member countries that were present. I think that meeting we had about 52 countries that were present. So that was already approved and then sent to the different countries to harmonize their data collection in regards to what ASO had prescribed. So I think it's just a matter of harmonizing. ASOs were able to share exactly what has been done so that we harmonize and capitalize the achievements, and so we don't get to duplicate for the same actors, because we are attaining the same objectives. So my suggestion would just be that we share information with regards to work that has been done, and we capitalize that and mutualize efforts and resources, which are not really much, but the same actors need capacity building. So, but when it's coming from multiple dimensions in the host countries, it may not necessarily be perceived as if we are trying to harmonize and attain the same objectives. So that's maybe just my contribution. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Divine. And I think you touch a very important point where it's really this complementarity and not, not overstep on what has been done, but rather really contribute to those efforts. And I think that's part of the strength of this framework, in a sense that it does build from those minimum indicators from ARSO by giving just way more, by supporting with details on how to collect it, with who to collect it. And as really, when you see the full report that Kaori has been sharing it on the chat, you will see that it's basically building from that and just allowing all the countries that, because countries are in different levels, right? So some countries are having a lot of troubles getting this minimum indicators. Others are collecting already more than those minimum indicators. So this is kind of an approach in which on one side is to try to support all countries at a different maturity that they have on the data collection, while allowing them to know what are the next steps. So once you collect this minimum indicators, what are the next indicators that they should be looking at? So I think this is in line with what you were saying. And thank you for sharing that comment as well. So I'm going to go to 3 more questions, and then we might need to start closing because we're already getting a bit late. So the 3 more questions are one from Elise. She's sharing, basically she's saying that this tool will be of real good help for everyone involved in this fight against on safety on the roads, and therefore supporting road safety. And her question is, how could technical assistance be materialized? I'm guessing for the implementation of it. The other question is from Christopher, and he says that he could remember WHO coming up with a tool that was, that they could use for data collection. And he remembers that this was on the last Global Road Safety Week in 2023 in May. WHO brought it to Bisagi, a data collection app. So, but how to effective use of this app in data collection and harmonization. Ahmad Hussein is also asking, how can the framework allow synchronization of data between the respective national lead agencies and their state or local counterparts? And also going back into the technical assistant for at the different levels. And lastly, will this, sorry, I think this is a question for the report, but not sure if this is from Freddie regarding if this will be shared on the 4th Ministerial Conference on Road Safety with other stakeholders. So, I mean, I'll answer this. I mean, yes, this is going to, we're going to be sharing it with others, but particularly with African focus sessions, within the African focus sessions, as well as I know that Maria was sharing here about an upcoming status report for the whole continent of Africa that we're looking into launching it also in the ministerial conference. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, I think well, the last comment from Stella, who mentions that she agrees with Divine and just wondering on the harmonization of the data between, you know, police is their primary source of data, and is also aware the national crash data database pilot is going to be rolled out mid this year. So we're just going to open up for any of the panelists or to make any remarks or answer any of these questions, and then we will go back to the conclusions and next steps. So who wants to go first?
Maybe on the question on harmonization, and yes, that's a legitimate question indeed, because it is true that the WHO has global indicators and methodology for data collection, and it has been used following the mandate given to the UN Assembly to WHO as a road safety, let's say, lead agency. So this has served the purpose to monitor with a less frequent, lower frequency, the progress and the status globally around road safety over the past years. This framework, the recently developed, stems. So we said that it really aligns also, so it is not in conflict with recommendations and the range of information that need to be provided. It is meant, and correct me if I'm wrong, Marisela, and colleagues, to really stimulate the operationalization at the country level, to own the process under the leadership of the local national actors. So yes, there might be a risk of duplication in the sense of maybe reporting times, but I do think that by strengthening actually the capacity within countries to collect better data, more comprehensive data over time, the process, they will help each other. Now, of course, this deserves discussion and further refinement. So there will be opportunities to do so, and very soon as well. Yes, so that's my take on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kara. Haley, I saw you wanted to jump in.
So,
About Jonas?
yeah, thank you, Marcela. Maybe as a final note will be, as this framework will enhance road safety outcomes for our member countries, and it squarely fits and align well to the ARSOS work plan. We will closely work with you, to fine-tune it so that member countries will domesticate it promptly. Thank you.
Thanks, Jonas. Haley?
No, thank you, Marcella. I think that's what I think. One last point I would suggest really to all the road safety agencies is really to work together and use ARSO as a platform. And probably, Marcel, at this point, also it's good to mention the upcoming Road Safety Agency Network Association that SSATP is spearheading. The whole idea of these platforms are to share experiences, to learn from from each other, and also capacity building. So I think we need to strengthen ARSO. ARSO has been basically in existence, what, 6 years or 7 years now, but it doesn't really reach to the level where it should be. So, and particularly for when it comes to data collection and monitoring, I think we should harmonize those, and we should get this done through ARSO. That will be my last message. Thank you.
Thank you, Haley. Noela, anything you would like to add or respond to any of the latest questions I shared?
Thank you, Maricela. I think what Divine mentioned is very pertinent, because if there is no harmonization at the level of the countries, these data will not be collected. So it's very important for all the stakeholders to work together as one in collecting this data. There should be data working groups with representatives from the different agencies. And another thing which is very key is the funding of the lead agencies. The lead agencies should actually take the lead in this in implementing this framework, and they would actually need to be funded. Funding has always been an issue, and I think as one of the indicators for the framework, it should be given due consideration, because without sufficient adequate funding, they would not be able to do a lot. So I think the aspect of funding should be revamped, and they should actually take the lead to bring all the other agencies on board for this data to be collected. And working with ASO, they can source capacity building support to improve the capacity, data management capacity of countries. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Noela. So I think I'm going to just share a few comments. I do think that it's very important, the comment made between really connecting the national level with the local level, or state, provinces, municipalities, and so forth. Because indeed, obviously there's a lot of this data that is collected at this local level that it's difficult sometimes to connect it with the national level. So putting in place these systems, it's extremely important as to really allow this connection, and not to it will obviously facilitate also the whole process. And you would probably, you saw it in the presentation that Noela did, how this framework actually goes a bit deeper into that. What are the systems that need to be in place as to really bring it from the local level into the national and even regional or international level systems, or monitoring frameworks, or monitoring reports, such as the one that they have been mentioned during this webinar. We invite you to review the report and have a look. You will see that, thank you, Natalie, also for your comment. You will see that it actually goes into more than just crash data. So you will see that this includes other targets that goes regarding safer roads, regarding behavioral indicators, and so forth. So these are included in this framework. So we invite you to have a look at it and see how it actually builds kind of a sequence, a progressing sequence for that can be useful for every country, regardless of their maturity in terms of their data collection systems. So we really hope that this will be useful for everyone. Indeed, the next steps is to hear from you as to how do you see the actual put in place of this framework in your own context. And please do let us know, what would you need from us meaning everyone here connected, our key partners included, ARSO, AUC, WHO, SSATP, and so forth. What would you need from us in order to really make the most out of this. And this could include, of course, as I was mentioning a couple of questions, technical assistance as to really, push this or push this into practice, which is basically what we're the most interested in. So yes, we are already discussing and thinking, and with many, actually with a couple of people that are here connected, on what are some of the options that we have in order to spread out this capacity building options in a way that we make them more systematic, and we allow through this capacity options and this we embedded this capacity development, this development of capacities from very early stages, as to really build up from there, and make sure that tools like this one result into they result into great benefits for the countries, and they're being used in a systematic way. So with that, thank you very much again for your time. We know that everyone is very busy, especially that the ministerial conference is coming in the following couple of weeks. Today is the 6th, yes. So in 10 days, we're gonna probably meet with many of you in person in Marrakesh. We're looking forward. There are going to be a lot of things, a lot of discussions focusing on Africa, because it's going to be the first ministerial conference happening in the Africa continent. So I invite you all, please, 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 let's take advantage of this opportunity to make our voice as a continent, as partners, be heard, and to take the most out of this very important conference that will allow us to connect the most, to share all this knowledge, to share many of these tools that are available and are being launched as we speak. And yes, please rest assured that we're here for any of your support. Haley, do you have any closing remarks or any other comments you would like to share with everyone before we disconnect?
No, I think you said just, I mean, as you said, it's at the end of the day, it's for the countries to use this framework. So we look forward really for the countries to embrace it. If there are any commenters, please come forward to share with us so that we can improve it. But I really encourage the lead road safety agencies to use this framework for their road safety performance monitoring. Otherwise, thank you very much, everyone, for joining. I was impressed by the level of the number of people connected to this session. So thank you very much. Really appreciate this. Gives us a hope and encouragement that really road safety matters to you, which is very important. Thank you very much.
Thank you again, Chiara. Thank you, Jonas, Noela, Kaori, for all the work behind the scenes. Haley for pushing this, from the beginning, and of course to everyone that got connected and for your valuable time and inputs. This video and the presentation and the publication are going to be shared on the SSATP website. So if you didn't have chance to get it from the chat, because I know Kaori shared like a couple of times, be sure that you can have a look at the SSATP website. So thank you everyone again, and we're here for any follow-ups. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
also, interpreters.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.